Hi, and welcome back to another episode of No Facts, All Logic with my co host Cam
Hello.
and me, Joe. All right. How's your Labor Day weekend going, Cam?
Not bad. Had to work yesterday, so I got through that. Got some studying doing for school right now, and just hanging out with listening to kids. They're gonna go swimming today and tomorrow. Enjoy the time.
Yeah.
How's your weekend been?
It's been interesting. I haven't been sleeping well, and it's probably due to the fact I, recently stopped taking, marijuana products. And, my dreams have been crazy. Like, I had a nightmare not last night, but the night before, and it really made it hard for me to sleep. And I don't know, it just had. Have you ever had sleep paralysis and stuff?
I think a couple times if I'm like in a really deep sleep, like if I'm super exhausted. But
Mm. Well, I've been getting a lot more sleep paralysis. It was an issue beforehand too, but apparently weed kind of helped me with that, because right now every time I lie down, I'll enter that stage, and it's just crazy not being able to be trapped in your own body like that.
yeah,
It's very scary. And like and then my last night's stream, not last night's, the night before, like it was actually felt like I actually literally died in the dream.
oh
I
shit.
have you ever been choked out to the point of unconsciousness?
No, thankfully not. Come close, but
Yeah, I have once, just fucking around in high school or whatever, and a kid choked me out. But I had that exact, like I was drowned in the dream, and it was like that same sensation of being choked out to the point of unconsciousness, and all of a sudden I was woken up by my alarm clock, which is crazy because it's in my dream I went from being drowned to the point of unconsciousness, and then only waking up to because my alarm clock. So I entered unconsciousness from drowning. It was such a surreal experience. When I woke up, I had to do a reality check. I
yeah,
don't know if you ever do reality checks,
all
but
the time.
I basically count 1 to 10, and then I do the ABCs, and then I list off some random facts, and I Google those random facts, and I'm like, okay, I think I'm still in the same reality.
Yeah.
Like, it just was so absurd. I don't know. So I ordered weed products because I'm just having a really hard time sleeping and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully the new products that you ordered help you out and start getting some better sleep.
Yeah, I feel like I shouldn't be so dependent on them. Like, I've been off them for a week, and it seems like the sleeping symptoms are now just kicking into effect.
But how long were you on them before?
I was doing them regularly, daily, for probably 5 months.
Yeah.
So it's not, I don't know, it just,
But that's probably right there. I mean, it's kind of the same thing. Like if you have caffeine consistently and you stop, and then all of a sudden you start getting headaches and you start feeling tired, fatigue, it's like kind of similar thing where you get off of it, but your body's so dependent on the caffeine. So if your body's dependent on, the weed for relaxation or, whatever,
yeah.
it's probably just going through that
Yeah,
withdrawal stage.
the withdrawal for caffeine, though, is 2 days. Two
What
days of headaches, and then it's okay.
depending, I mean, if you don't drink water too,
Hmm.
and then now you're dehydrating yourself, and then the withdrawals seem even harder. That's why I remember I would drink energy drinks for probably a month straight, and then I started getting off of them because they felt like they would make me very anxious, very almost depressed, um, and just very tired. They started having almost the opposite effect of instead of giving me a lot of energy, they were just the reverse effect. So I just felt tired, fatigued. Once I got off of my headaches, very tired. It was hard for my body to get the natural stimulants that it needs, and especially in the morning for work.
Yeah,
So
but that's just That's something I've been struggling with lately.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It feels like if I like went a couple of days with like if you're on at least with me, if I'm on weed and I stop taking it, like the day after it's very noticeable. Like,
Yeah.
and even like waking up after weed, and this is something I notice is a lot better now, is like when I wake up, I actually feel a lot more like awake, like than when I was on weed. I feel like when I'm on weed and I use it as a sleep aid, I wake up very groggy, and it's not like hungover, but it's I would say it's a one tier down from being hungover kind of thing.
Yeah. Hopefully, the products, like I said, that you got help you out. You don't do like CBD or anything like that, right? You just do.
Maybe that would be a decent way to like get off the actual high effect, and maybe that'll help sleep. I should look into CBD.
Yeah.
I always thought CBD was kind of scamish.
I personally have taken it before, and speaking from experience, I liked it because of my OCD tics and stuff like that. It kind of helped calm me down. But the problem was, I didn't read the label the first time I took it, so I took like a whole dropper, and I was like, okay. Because my mom, when she worked at the pharmacy, she ended up, I think she asked me if she got some for me, if I would take it, and I was like, yeah. So eating dinner one night, and I took a whole dropper, and I was like, holy fuck. 10 minutes later, I was like, I gotta go to bed. Like, I felt very relaxed, but very tired, and I woke up. I didn't feel very like groggy or anything. I just felt calm. So like, it wasn't. I don't think it's a scam. It kind of helped with like my appetite too, but where I was taking so much, I think it was making it to where like it carved it,
Mm.
so I wasn't as hungry. So I actually lost a little bit of weight while I was
Yeah.
on it too.
I think like quitting weeds actually had a better effect on my appetite. Like I just eat a lot less when I'm not taking weed too.
Yeah.
Like just throughout the day, like I'm just a lot less hungry. I feel like drinking black coffee makes me not hungry as well, but like when I'm taking weed and I have black coffee, they negate each other. So I have an overeating problem, and I feel like weed really exacerbates that issue because it makes me think it's okay to like I'm a grown up. I shouldn't need to snack, and I shouldn't have that sensation of like feeling snack, especially when I'm so overweight as it is.
Well, so do you like emotional eat or stress eat or just like situational stuff? Like if it's convenient and you don't really feel like cooking one night, you just trying to like snack or pig out, like get McDonald's. Is it just like situational?
It's
Like,
mostly boredom. I think it's related to,
yeah,
which is it's boredom with weed and with my ADHD. Like basically, I get bored of what I'm currently doing and I'm high, so I'll go eat, and that extra thing makes it a lot easier to like be in trance of like watching a show or whatever. And I'll eat even if I'm full on weed, which is very problematic. And then like when I'm not on weed, it's like I might pace in the kitchen, I might drink some juice or something, but that's about the extent. I'm not gonna. I realize I don't eat if I'm not hungry nearly as much.
yeah.
Yeah.
Nah, I have a habit of snacking on like chips or like Chips Ahoy cookies. Those are a weakness. So it's I guess kind of out of boredom. But I mean, if I'm hungry, I'm trying to get better about eating breakfast now, so that my body has something to kind of digest, and it'll kind of help my appetite later on. So when I eat lunch, I'm like, okay, I don't want as much for lunch. So it's just trying to help me stay consistent with eating, and just like I did edibles last year, and those were actually pretty good. Like I just felt calm. Like I felt like anytime I'd laugh, it was like an actual like belly laugh. It just felt good to like let loose a little bit. But I don't take them anymore. But I'm just trying to find ways to like kind of level out everything within my body. But
Yeah.
so
And like not being able to sleep, like obviously my work schedule's changing, and I went to bed at like 4 a.m. yesterday,
right,
and it's like, man, I'm gonna be in trouble when it comes to Tuesday, and I have to wake up at 6.
yeah,
So it's like, either either I don't sleep at all tonight and I just exhaust myself, or maybe like I'm still so exhausted I can go to bed at like 8 and wake
Yeah.
up at 5.
You should try. It's just a recommendation. Do as you please, but like just physical exercise, like hard, like even if it's 15, 20 minutes, but it's a hard, circuit workout or something. Just trying to like fatigue your muscles, fatigue your body, and like get your, or go for, a jog or something or a walk.
Yeah.
Just try and like get your mind right, get everything kind of leveled out.
Yeah, I think hopefully we can work out like starting next week and stuff. I'm really looking forward to like trying something like that. I just need to establish a routine with the new schedule. If I
Yeah.
establish a routine, even if like you can't do it or whatever, if I get that routine down, I'll be able to do it on my own.
Oh, and that's the thing too. Like, all you just need like minimal equipment. Like, it's nice to have like a full blown gym. You can do push ups. You can do, I wouldn't recommend sit ups because they're not that great for your back.
Really?
Well, because of the range of motion that you're involving. I mean, you can do them. It's not gonna kill you, but it's just gonna put more strain and tension on your back.
Do you recommend? What is it, like a half sit up?
Crunch.
A crunch?
Yeah,
Or
so
is
it's like
crunch
quarter
fine?
halfway. Yeah. So basically, you just want to get it to where you can elevate your rhomboids off.
I'll be honest, like, I think a crunch is all you need because I think a full sit up, I do feel that back pain that you're talking about. And I feel like I use momentum at the
Yeah.
last little bit, and I feel like, I felt like it was a back workout, is why you did a full sit up. But now that you mentioned, like, it's not great for your back, I'm like, oh, I'm just never going to do it again.
Like, you can still do them. The problem is like so think about it. When you're on your back, right, and you have your knees up, parallel, whatever. Now you're thrusting your body, or like you're moving your body forward. So you're putting extra strain not just on your back muscles, but you have to kind of tense your neck, tense your, tuck your deltoids in a little bit, like, so you're getting that, and you want to make sure that you're, like, your rectus abdominis, which is your center core. You want to make sure that you're working your core, which is what it's gonna help do. But you're also strengthening your back muscles. It's just you're utilizing them a little bit more than what a crunch would do. So a crunch is just you can go fast, tuck, move your butt close to your feet, and really get the full effect. And then, like leg lifts you can do, scissor kicks you can do, bicycle kicks you can do. Like, there's a plethora of different like exercises that you can do just for your core. But a lot of it too is you can do these 15-20 minute HIIT workouts or these HIRT workouts, which is high intensity resistance training. So instead of the high intensity interval training, you do resistance too. But a lot of people don't realize that why they quit is because they don't have a plan going forward. It's like, I don't know how to start here, like go from A to B.
Yeah.
And then, when you feel like you can't progress anymore, you have to kind of overload that. But everybody just wants to go gung-ho and lift, 315 pounds.
Yeah, like when I
So-
quit the gym last time, like I should be able to pick up where I left off, right?
And that's like, it's, people say, oh, well, muscle memory. Yeah, but the problem is you can't build muscle memory if you only work out a month and then you take a month or two off and then you go back to working out. It's like your body doesn't really recognize that. Now, if you had worked out for 6 months continuous and you took like a couple weeks off or a month because you got really busy, then you go back a month after that, you're probably going to have better muscle memory than what you did if you just did 1 month and took 6 off. Whereas if you worked out 6 months, took 1 off, and then went back, you'd probably have a better chance at muscle memory, like regaining that.
I feel like muscle memory just comes down to like when I hear muscle memory, and it's probably a different context because you're studying it, but when I hear that, it's like I would picture it's more about the technique than it is about the actual, like, oh, I can go back and lift the same weights.
It's kind of a combination because you have to have proper technique in order to kind of progress and move up in weight. Because anybody can lift with improper form, they can lift heavy weight. That's not the question. But if you're wanting to blow something out, then keep lifting with improper form. So your muscle memory is what you practice. So I had a teacher Mrs. Spanos, who was like, instead of practice makes perfect, it was practice makes permanent. So if you're consistently, practicing something bad. You know, I did some workouts in college, right? So it was like a little bit different than what I had done, but it was still along the same, but I was actually gaining size because my muscle memory was making sure that everything was, you know, if I did a bench press, I like to start up like everybody else, and then you go down to your chest, but you're not slamming the weight. Some people will slam it off their chest.
Jesus. Like, that would be scary.
Right, and then ever since Alyssa and I got together, I remember going to the gym, and you got a bunch of these fucking meatheads who will sit around for 3-4 hours, bullshitting each other and just kissing each other's ass. It's like, okay, and I heard one guy, actually at Newport Fitness say that he took, I don't know, he hadn't lifted in like 4 months, but he could still do like 300-400 pounds, I don't know, deadlift or squat. I'm like, no. The problem, so it's like, you can lift heavy weights, and then, you can take some time off and come back and still lift pretty heavy. Your body's just going to be stiff. You're going to, promote, injuries, fatigue, strains on muscle. Like, there's a lot of shit that you can do. That's why body weight exercises are closed chain movements. So it's just in one, kind of direction, but you're working out, certain muscles, certain body parts. Like, if you're going to bench press and you want to improve on your bench press, you have to have something to push off of. So building a strong back is just as important. So whatever if you're working out chest one day, you should work out, an antagonist or like the opposite. So you should work out, if you're doing bicep curls, do like, you can superset it. So regular bicep curls and hammer curls, and then do dips, tricep extensions, because you want to build your whole body. In order to do that, you have to do bench press, bicep curls, and then you have to do the opposite. So build a strong back, build a strong, triceps. It sounds easy, but it just takes time.
Yeah. I also, like, consistently working out, I run into, like, an elbow, like, pain quite a bit. Like, I don't know, like, it's probably an injury from wrestling, but it's just, if I just, like, do, like, a tricep pull down, and I do that a couple of times, like, a week, like, the third week or whatever, I'll run into, like, elbow pain, and it's, like, it doesn't go away, like, if I just, like, let it rest or whatever. Like, it goes away, like, 2 months.
Yeah.
Like, it's very, like, inflamed.
There's, it's that kind of help increase, like, strength, like, flexibility, joint range of motion. You can take a resistance band and put it around, I don't know, like a post or something, like a pole, and you can just kind of like slowly start to, because you can feel the tension in your elbow. So where your brachialis is, it breaks from your bicep to your forearm. So you want to, if it's on the inside of your elbow, you kind of want to put that tension.
You don't think that'll irritate it, or
you're just trying to see where that point is, that motion, and over time you're going to do like corrective flexibility, or like just different range of motion drills and techniques, like exercises, and over time you're going to start to feel that strength build back up in your elbow. And I mean, you could have tennis elbow, you could have a million and one different things, but it's doing these corrective exercises to kind of help increase that flexibility, that joint range of motion, and decrease the pain throughout your elbow.
Okay.
So, and like I said, we can, look at stuff like that too when we start working out. Like I personally, I like to do a mixture of, and a lot of people do this, but I like to do it where if I start with a certain weight, so say I'm doing, because everybody's body is different. So the way I like to do it, and the way that my body remembers that muscle action and everything, is if I do 15 pounds in each hand as to like start, that'll be like set 1. So I'll do 15 reps, a bench press with 15 pounds, and then I'll go and I'll kind of superset it. So it's building muscular hypertrophy. So enlarging the muscles, which you can build strength and size in a shorter amount of time, just from supersetting, stuff like that. And then I moderately move up in weight. So depending on how my body's feeling that day, I'll either move up 5 pounds or 10 pounds, and I'll go until like
failure.
Not failure, but I'll kind of do like a pyramid. So I'll start at 15 reps, and then I'll go down to 12, and so I'm doing 20 pounds for 12 reps. So the weight's moving up, and I'm starting to decrease the repetitions. So you're going up in weight and going down in in reps, but I'm keeping the volume and the intensity the same. Like I'm trying to still do everything with proper form technique. So if I'm doing a lateral raise, I'm doing 15 pounds for 15 reps, and then I'm doing 25 pounds or 20 pounds. Just I know certain parts of my body aren't going to react, and be. Yeah, I don't want to tear anything because some of them are easier to tear. So if I'm doing like a lateral raise or like a front raise, I'm not going to go up super heavy in weight. I'm probably only going to increase the increments by 2.5 to 5 pounds. So not a lot. And just doing 15 reps, then 12, then 10, then 8. And if I'm doing super heavy, I say super heavy, but like say 52.5 pounds in each hand, right? For dumbbell press. I'm going to do that for like 6 to 8 reps. But I'm trying to squeeze and make sure my breathing's intact, make sure everything's in alignment. So stability is the most important thing. Building postural alignment, building stability when you're doing bench press, squats, especially squats. Squats and deadlifts are probably, if you were to pick any 2 exercises to do over the course of a week that are full body exercises and great for stability, squats, deadlifts. Great, because you can go heavy on deadlifts. It's going to work your whole body. You keep your core tight. Keep everything in line. Squats, same thing. You pick your point of reference. Everything's in line.
Yeah, I definitely feel the full body effect of a squat. I really hate the bar over my shoulders.
Yeah.
That's a very uncomfortable feeling.
Trying to think, because there's like different machines that you can do too.
I feel like I can get the same effect by having like a chair and just like weights and sitting down on the chair and getting up kind of thing. But it has to be a lower chair, obviously.
Yeah.
And then you don't really want to sit on it. You just want your just feel the chair and getting up. But I think I stopped doing squats like when I realized okay, I can get a very similar effect by just having 20-pound weights in my arms and sitting down on the bench and getting back up.
Yeah.
Of course, you're not getting as much of a range because the chair doesn't go down that low, but I feel like that was a much better compromise than just feeling uncomfortable on my shoulders. And maybe I don't know, maybe you get used to it after a while, or maybe I was too much weight, but I feel like I could do the weight that I was doing, which I don't remember what it was, but I don't know. It was just a very uneasy feeling. It felt like, I don't know. I felt like I could be crushed.
Yeah. That's the thing too. If you look at a lot of these videos, I don't know everything. I know I'm going to school for it. I'm trying to get my certifications and stuff. I understand that. I don't know everything about exercise and fitness, but I'm willing to learn. What I do know is that there's a lot of fucking people who are idiots, and I will say it publicly, in private, it doesn't matter, to that person. And it's not some tough guy thing. There's a lot of idiots who don't know what the fuck they're doing. And you can't, the problem is, like I said earlier, you can work out consistently, you can eat right, you can lift heavy weights, and you're going to see results. You're going to see this. But then you have the idiots. A guy literally died from squatting because the weight came down. So how your spine is broken up, you have your cervical spine, which has 7 vertebrae, right? And that's at the top part. You have your thoracic, which is in the middle, and you have your lumbar, which is your lower part. So your thoracic has 12 vertebrae, and then your lumbar has 5 vertebrae. So your lumbar and your thoracic help hold everything up, and then your cervical helps connect to the upper part of your spine. When you have that weight, I don't even know how much the weight was. It was probably over 400 or 500 pounds.
Crazy.
Whatever it is, it doesn't matter, right? Heavy fucking squat. When he went down, the weight fucking, I don't know if he slipped or what happened. The guy that spotted him was behind, and the weight literally collapsed onto him, and it bent his fucking neck forward and basically just snapped his spine. There's so many fucking idiots, and this guy was a professional. I think he was a professional bodybuilder or powerlifter. Just because you have that professional in front of your name doesn't automatically mean that you're not doing something that's going to affect you. I've seen The World's Strongest Men. I don't know if you've seen their show or whatever. There was 4 of them. It's Eddie Hall, Brian Shaw. There's a couple other guys. But you should watch the show because they were doing like this carousel lift. They were lifting 2,000 pounds, and it's like that is so fucking bad for your spine. Like they obviously have done it for years, so whatever. They're big guys, but it's like that's still fucking dumb because you're doing these amazing feats of strength, but you're gonna have a lot of compression on your spine. You're gonna tear your fucking bicep. You're gonna tear your pectoral muscle. You're gonna tear your deltoid. You're gonna tear your back. You're gonna fuck up your knees, like. But they're all doing it for, an award, and I'm like, I get it, but that's still stupid. And that's just my opinion, but yeah, it just you should. And the problem too is like a lot of these, and this has been going on for decades, is steroids have created this illusion that an athletic body needs to look like this. But if you look at the typical athletic body, it's supposed to look like just a regular, like, you got like a pretty good body composition. Your BMI is right around where it should be, which BMI is a fucking kind of a joke because I'm considered overweight because it's off your height and weight. It's like, whatever.
No, I consider like the ideal like body man like size is like you, Matt, and Ryan all have like very perfect bodies. Like when
somewhat.
Well, I mean, obviously there's room to improve, like, but it's like that. I think that's mostly in your guys' head at this point because I think like an average person looking at you would say like, oh, these guys are very healthy. Like, it's undeniable.
Well, like Matt and Ryan have really big biceps. Like, they're fucking jacked.
I think I think Matt is actually like, it's not just his biceps are big. Like he has like I think Matt's probably the most toned.
Yeah.
Out of like everyone I just listed, and then like Ryan probably just has gotten a little out of shape with his newborn and stuff. But when I first met Ryan, like he was very toned as well.
Yeah. And like I said, I think anybody can achieve that, but the problem is everybody wants to do it so fucking fast, right? Everybody wants to do it so quick, and it's like it's just a progression. Like, everybody's body is different, genetic makeups, different, life choices, different whatever. It's like there's so much that goes into it, but you could do the same workout. So if you look up like, I don't know, The Rock's workout routine, right? You can do the same workouts as The Rock. You're never gonna nobody's ever gonna look exactly like that. But then you look at what he's taken, and Derek from More Plates, More Dates, does a breakdown of different like jiu-jitsu stars, different athletes, different celebrities. It's like Chris Hemsworth, prime example, right? Oh, he's got his own workout app. He's got this. He diets. It's like, yes, you can achieve that, but looking the way that he did in Thor: Love and Thunder, or the way that he looked as like Hulk Hogan, you're just lying. You're lying to your fucking fans. You're lying to people thinking that. And I think Matt and I were talking about this at work, is that there's an illusion because Gordon Ryan, he's a top jiu-jitsu star, like #1 no-gi jiu-jitsu athlete or player in the world. He looks, and he's open about his steroid use. So, but he has a workout routine that you can buy off this website. And somebody did a review, and they gained some size and strength, but it looked nothing like Gordon Ryan. There's a model that people should follow. It's stability, it's strength endurance, like hypertrophy, muscular development, maximal strength, and power. Those are the 5 phases of the OP model. Stability is number 1 because you should be focusing on proprioceptive movements, or primary functional movements, stuff like that. And then you start to work up into strength endurance. So now you're doing like some HIIT workouts, you're doing stuff like that. And then hypertrophy is, muscular development, enlarging the muscles. So you're gaining some size, you're supersetting your stuff, then you're doing your maximal strength. And then your power is the last one. Because power is like when you've been working out consistently for a while now, you can start doing, more like Olympic weightlifting type stuff, powerlifting type stuff, plyometric movements, so explosive movements, speed, agility, quickness, which is your SAT training. All that stuff just comes over time. And you can combine stuff like resistance workouts, like suspended body weight workouts are really good for like the first couple phases. So it's just people have this illusion that you're gonna get like Sylvester Stallone. It's like, no, if you want to take, and there was I forget the guy's name. I just saw a YouTube video. This 21-year-old guy, he's already on fucking TRT. I'm like, brother, your fucking testosterone, like, and he's taking a pretty decent amount of it. Just this guy's like, oh, you're huge. What are you taking? He's like, are you natty or not? And that's what it is. It's like a lot of people aren't. Some people are. They're gifted with the genetic genotype of, like, they have an athletic body. They're very muscular. They're very ripped, shredded, whatever. But no, this kid's 21 years old on TRT, and I'm like, when he gets off of that one day, his body's gonna be severely fucked up.
He might never get off, right?
And that's the thing. You cycle on and off, and it's just sad because people take an excess amount. They have heart attacks. They have problems with their kidneys. They have different liver functions. It's like they change their genotype. They get acne up like bad. Yeah, it just sucks. It just really sucks. Yeah. That's the way. And we need to stop these celebrity like influencers and shit, like these celebrity trainers, because yeah, they need to be stopped.
Yeah.
Like fucking now.
Yeah. Maybe we should be like drug testing, like even like not just like athletes, but maybe even like movie stars. It should
yeah.
Be, like a standard.
I think, because the problem is, like, in order to get less than even 10% is not healthy. But when you're like 2 to 5% body fat, like, you're fucking crushing your organs. That's so hard to maintain. That's so unhealthy. The guy, Jeff Cavalier from Athlean X, is like 1 or 2% body fat. Literally a paper cut could fucking end it. And it's like, I don't understand, like, 12 to 14% for somebody should be like a pretty achievable goal over time for most people. Some people it's not. I understand that. So I'm not saying everybody has to be at 12 to 14%, but that's a lot easier to maintain, even 18, 19%. That's about what I'm at right now. So if I could get that down to like 14 to 16%, I'll look slightly different. Maybe I look more muscular because I got, whatever, more tone. It's just,
I think once you're talking about like those percentages, like every percent, like you'll see significant differences.
Yeah.
But there's a percentage, like if you're over 20%, there's not going to be a big difference between 20 and 25%. Like when you add on fat, I don't notice the differences that much. Obviously they're there, but when you're like starting to go under 20, every percentage is like, oh, this looks significantly different from the one before.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But it's like, oh, yeah, if you're, like, way overweight, it's like, there's not really a big difference between being, like, 300 pounds and being, like, 290 or 310, right? No one's going to be able to judge your weight just by looking at you, kind of thing.
No, and that's the thing. It's almost like you can disguise it a little bit better. Like, nobody's going to be like, oh, this guy's, how much is he? Like, 600 pounds? But it's actually 400 because you can't really... the problem is, too, is, like, where I said BMI, it's not a scam because it does indicate different things, but it's kind of a joke because the max I would ever get up to for weight is probably 185, 190, right? That's, like, the max I would do because I'm not tall, so I'm not an overly big guy. But if I was to maintain that and I was to start doing different strength exercises and different plyometric movements, right, and I got down to like 14%, 16% body fat, you're probably going to notice a little bit of a difference. Whereas if like, trying to think of a good example, I don't know, say somebody from work, right, or somebody in general was like 300 pounds, and then they dropped down to 260. So now their body fat changes pretty drastically. They just cut 40 pounds out. Now their body composition, their body fat percentage is a lot less. It's like you're gonna notice that. But like you said, if you're 500-600 pounds and you go down to like 400, you're gonna notice a difference, but it's still gonna be like, not really.
You only notice a difference if you know the person, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like if you don't see him every day, you're just like
that's a fat fuck.
Oh,
right.
People, I'm not against this because I've done a little bit of research into it, but like the gastric sleeve and like gastric bypass surgery and stuff, if somebody is weighs that much, like 500-600 pounds, they have to get down to a weight where they can perform the surgery. A lot of times, you can't tell that somebody's had a surgery. I'm not ragging on anybody. I'm not judging them, but you find out that this person had a surgery, and you're like, where, when, and
It's
it's
it's pretty sad. Sorry.
oh, you're
It's
good.
pretty. I think the surgeries are bad because I think they're very helpful, and percentage wise, more people benefit from that surgery than not.
Yeah,
But it's really sad when someone goes through that surgery and they don't have the discipline like established. I think that's the big reasons why surgeons are like, you need to lose some weight to just prove you have some kind of control. Because if you don't have control, you go over with that surgery. It's like you're going to beat the surgery. Like,
mm-hmm.
and if you're not able to establish any kind of discipline before the surgery, then you're not going to have any kind of discipline after the surgery. So the surgery is not going to help the overall condition.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can, if you can lose like 50 pounds, and which when you're that overweight, it shouldn't be that hard. Like cut out soda is a huge one, right?
No sweets.
Yeah. Or they're not going to cut out sweets probably.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
that's one thing that.
Yeah. And it's like the weight just melts off eventually, like if you just really do cut back. I think diet is like the biggest, it's like probably 90% is my perception of what it shapes your body. And then like that last 10% when you want to look big or whatever, that comes into effect with the workout. But, if you're 600 pounds, I don't think, obviously walking would help, but it's not going to help dramatically compared to like fixing your diet.
Yeah. And there's so many different ways that you can do it too. I mean, the formula is there, and a lot of like what guys from the 60s, 70s, 80s, were doing for like bodybuilding. Like, you can build mass in different, like, a variety of ways. Are you gonna look like a Greek god if you're eating like, Subway, McDonald's, but you're still working out strong? Like, you're gonna gain strength. You're gonna gain different, things. It's just like size. Obviously, I mean, there's a difference between like a dairy bulk and a lean bulk. And then once you, okay, and then you start to cut. Like, I was not dairy bulking, but I was trying to bulk up a little bit. Because I was like, okay, I'm already here. Let me see if I can get up to like 180, 185. And then I'm thinking in my head, if I can maintain that, and then just start to tweak and start eating better, like more protein, decent amount of carbohydrates, and then limit fats. Let me see how much I can do, because I'm trying to keep my energy levels up so I can perform during a workout. So I was trying to like play around with the formula a little bit for like my body, because everybody's formula is different. And that's what the main point I was telling you earlier was. Your formula is going to be different than what my formula is. Everybody has different goals. Everybody has different genotypes. So I want to look like everything, like big arms, tight core, big chest, big, strong back, big legs, especially the calves, because I feel like that's one of the more underutilized muscles in the body that people don't really care about. Their quads and hamstrings. If you ask a guy, what would you rather have? Probably a majority of them, 90 to 95%, are going to say big arms. Maybe even more than that. They're going to say big arms, big upper body.
I think it depends on like where you're coming from. I think people like calves are like one of those more noticeable ones if you have like a job that allows you to wear shorts.
Yeah.
Like it's all about like what people see more of, and like everyone sees an arm, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone sees like a chest, but not everyone sees the legs because of pants and stuff. But I personally think calves are pretty decent to work out. Like, I think because I'm so like much bigger than I should be, I got pretty decent sized calves.
Yeah.
And like every time I hit the gym, I always do like toe ups and stuff like that to like tone them out. And like when I was doing like a full leg workout, I definitely wanted to hit the calves. And I don't know. I like the look of a calf. I think like when that pops, it's very pop. is very appealing. Um, the workouts that I think are probably the most neglected are probably like the side core. I think that's a very neglected one.
Yeah.
Um, probably like the neck part right here.
Mm.
That's probably another neglected one. And those are the two I think are pretty common. Which I kind of like the neck look. Like when people almost don't have a neck, it's like a peacock. You know what I mean? It's like a peacock effect. I kind of like that, but that's probably because like every strong wrestler has that effect because you need your neck to like, you just need to like be able to rest your body weight and someone else's body weight with your head and toes touching the mat, and that's why like you need a very strong neck in wrestling. Like
and see, there's a tool called Iron Neck, and boxers use it, wrestlers use it, most combat sports athletes use it. It's just basically to strengthen all parts, get more range of motion in your neck, strengthen your neck muscles.
With wrestling, it was you get on the mat, and it was like head to mat, toes on mat, and you basically, with your feet, you run around in a circle, then you kick over and flop. So now you're like arched, and then you like kick feet over feet, and it like it's so hard, dude. It like works out your entire core, and then you do that and you kick over, dude. This stuff was punishing.
I don't think a lot of people realize how strong wrestlers really are, and how flexible wrestlers really are. Like just the couple classes that I did, and then just having done like judo, jiu-jitsu, and stuff like that. Like especially when they posture up, like when because you're sprawling, you're attacking, you're defending, you're doing all this stuff, and it's like you have to be pretty well conditioned.
Yeah, I think wrestling is unique compared to like striking because you need endurance and like strength to actually wheel your opponent to do what you want. Versus like boxing, it's like I feel like a more critique for striking sports is speed. I think speed's way more important than like in wrestling. Versus like wrestling is like when I have to grapple you, it's like I need to be able to grapple you and manipulate you, even though you don't want it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest difference because there's definitely a body shift between grapple sports and like striking sports. Striking sports, I feel like people are a lot more like thin. I see a lot more striking sports like, a lot more
lanky.
Yeah, it's more lengthy, I guess, which isn't bad. It's just a different body tone. But, like, wrestlers are, like, I don't know. I see, like, the Olympic wrestlers, and they always have peacock necks. I always see, like, every bit of them is, like, very strong.
Yeah. There was a guy, Alexander Karelin. He was from Russia, and this guy, they call him I think they call him the experiment, because his parents are kind of, like average height, average size. He won, let me look up his record because I don't want to get this wrong. I'm pretty sure he won like 800 something matches. He only lost twice in his life. I'm like, that's fucking insane. But let me just look up. But yeah, I definitely get what you mean. I think wrestlers are, I don't want to say thicker, but just like stocky. Like they're like,
I think they are thicker.
Like you see some like wrestlers like quads, for example. Like they're fucking massive, but a striker is like pretty lean, pretty toned. Because I think it just, you look at when they start off, they run like 3 to 5 miles, and then they do. Floyd Mayweather's not a big guy. Like Canelo Alvarez is a pretty decent sized guy, like pretty bulky. Muhammad Ali was a pretty bulky guy. But Roy Jones Jr., who's my favorite boxer of all time, well, one of, very lean, very athletic body type, very muscular, just so fucking quick, like so quick. But they do a lot of explosive workouts, and Roy Jones Jr. never did like use weights in his workout routine. Mike Tyson, until he got older, did a lot of calisthenics, so it was just like speed, explosion, technique. All that stuff, learn how to kind of mimic your body, set up traps and stuff like.
Yeah, I think that's the difference of like with wrestling, you need to be able to like lift your not just your body, but someone else's body.
Yeah.
So that's why like they're so much more thick, as you would say.
So I can't. Obviously, we don't have a camera, but this is that Alexander Karelin. That's his record.
Wow.
That's fucking insane. 887 wins and 2 losses. This is what. I'll show you why they call him the experiment. Like, that's fucking insane.
Yeah.
Like, look at the fucking size of him.
Yeah.
And he was manhandling these heavyweights, these super heavyweights, like nothing. It was just like, he lost his last match ever in the Olympic Games. I think he went undefeated in the Olympic Games, but he lost in like, I don't know, overtime. But there's some controversy around that because I guess he couldn't do some of the moves that he typically would do. Like, his was trying to like wrap around and then trying to like throw the opponent. I forget the name of the move, but yeah, he just a monster. Just looking at him, I'm like, that's a genetic freak. Like, that's definitely just insane. And you look at a lot of these strikers, like these Muay Thai guys, very like small guys, like they're a little bit shorter than what I am. They could fuck both of us up. Like the speed of their kicks and their punches and shit, and then they throw an elbow or a knee. It's like Muay Thai is my favorite striking like martial art to watch, because these guys can kick. They'll kick trees, they'll kick whatever, these posts, and they'll like wrap their shin around it and they don't break their shin. But the shin conditioning is insane. Like, and some of these guys have like 300-400 fights striking. That's insane because of the amount of damage that striking does. Like, wrestling, you can get tossed around. Like, I got a grappling dummy, I could tackle that, throw that around, that whatever. It sucks, but I'd rather get thrown around or like throw somebody else around than get hit thousands of fucking times.
Well, it also is like, as a wrestler, you also have to condition yourself like how to like fall,
Yeah.
and like fall in weird angles and always be prone to like, it's very different compared to any other grappling sport because you always want to, you like condition yourself to like fall on your belly versus like in mixed martial arts it looks like you fall to your back, because that like when you introduce like striking in the mix, it's like if you show your back, it's like you're just gonna get hit in the back of your head.
Well, so that's the thing. Like, there's a bot. Like, there's like, you can't strike to the back of the head, thankfully, because in boxing, more people die in boxing than MMA because it's a repeated blow to the back of the head. When you have that fucking weight on your hands, like literally, like a literal weight, you're putting, like, bare knuckle fighting, Pete and I were talking about it, he said is actually safer or better than regular boxing because your bare hands, your knuckles can only take so much before, like, you're just like, all right, like, I can't hit anymore. I can't do whatever. If you're punching with boxing gloves, you can go 10, 12 rounds, and these guys are getting fucked up. And there's been boxers that have died, got paralyzed because they get repeated blows to the back of the head, brain damage. Like, your life can change in a fucking instant. Mm-hmm. And I love combat sports. I love everything about combat sports. I'm just more big on MMA. I feel like it's safer overall. I mean, you get kicked, you get knee in the fucking head, like, yeah, like, that sucks. But a lot of times you hear these guys, like, you don't really feel it. You just go out and you wake up, you're like, okay, I got a nap. But
Yeah, I just had I had to like sleep for 5 minutes or whatever. It's a power nap.
Well, and now you're using 4-ounce gloves, so it's more fucking. You got like your tape and your wraps and stuff, but it's a lot more bare knuckle than it is with a boxing glove. And honestly, like, I'd rather get choked out than knocked out. So there's always that chance too. Like, I don't want to get choked out, but between the two, like, I guess blackout before you tap out. But like, I don't know. I'm depending on if you're stupid or not. I mean, there's been times in class somebody gets you in a rear naked choke, guillotine, whatever it is, and you're like, yeah, all right, tap, good. And I mean, they're either gonna cut off your blood, which will go quicker than your air, or they'll cut off your windpipe. I mean, I know you know because you did wrestling for quite a while.
You don't get choked out in wrestling. It's very like, when you're like, there's a rule where like if you're like including the head in a grapple, you always need like another body part,
Yeah.
whether that be an arm or a leg. That's why like you get. I feel like it's kind of unique in wrestling where you like cradle is pretty common.
Yeah.
Like where you have their leg, like the inside of your elbow is in the inside of their like knee, and you pull that down so their knees like touching their forehead, and your arm is like touching the back of their neck, and you're like squeezing, and then your like knee is coming up to like lift their body up. It's like a pinning position. So you're like leaning back like this.
Yeah.
And it's not very good for a podcast, I'm realizing.
Yeah.
But like I really like that, like the cradling, or the turkey bar. Like, you know what a turkey bar is?
I don't think so.
It's like basically they're on the ground like this, or like they're on their bellies, they're trying to get up and stuff, and you like put your elbow inside of their elbow, and like you put your arm behind them, and as they like push forward, you like wrap your hand around their wrist, and then you like pry it. So like, and then, like if you have your like ear on their back, you can actually hear their body like go.
Oh, really?
You can hear their like if you're listening, and you have your head in the right position, you can hear that like forcing their lungs out, like a, and it's like. And then you're just waiting for them to put their other arm out, and then you can like wrap around and try and go for a pin like that. But
because you can do like bulldog choke and crossface.
Crossface, yeah. I don't know what a bulldog choke is.
It's kind of like a rear naked, but it's more from the side, and you don't have to necessarily get under the chin. You can just take the chin, kind of like turn the head a little bit, so like you're cutting off their breathing through their fucking their nose and their mouth. So you just kind of like, that's a good way to describe it.
A crossface is like you're conditioned not to do it. Like at least I was. Like when you do, like you shoot, like it was very common. Like my coach was very determined to be like, your head doesn't go on the outside of their hip. You want your head like closer to their crotch, and that's to avoid like a crossface. Crossface, like if you go in for a shot, so brutal.
Yeah.
So like, no, you don't want to be put in that position. And my coach made it very clear, like. Yeah, you always want to put your head inside, like closer to their belly.
Yeah.
Because it's so much harder for them to do a crossface.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to win that shot against a crossface. Like, it's so brutal. And the sheer fact that they can, like, force your neck back like that, it's dangerous.
Yeah. You know what I realized since we were talking about wrestling? Jake Paul's a fucking idiot because after he fought Nate Diaz, so they went 10 rounds, I think, and Nate Diaz lost by decision, which bullshit. Anyway, he got Jake in a guillotine with like a couple seconds left in the fight, and I guess he was like, Jake said, yeah, he was actually squeezing, but like if I was to fight it, I would have dropped down for a double leg and like taken. I'm like, oh. If somebody, and I'm thinking about this, and I didn't have to read the comments, and then I read the comments, and I was like, okay, so I'm not a fucking completely stupid. So, from my knowledge, if somebody has you in a standing guillotine, and they have it locked in, like, they're gonna fucking pull, right? Yeah. It's really fucking hard to get out of a guillotine.
It's, like, as someone that's been in that guillotine position, it's so brutal.
And if you have a jiu-jitsu black belt that puts you in a guillotine, that's even more dangerous. So I was like, okay, but I'm thinking if he drops to a double leg, like drops to his knee and then tries to shoot in, like he's just gonna sink the fucking choke in deeper. Now Nate can get him on the ground. Now it's he's laying down with a guillotine, and he's pulling the head, and I'm like, what a fucking idiot. I was like, no, you're just gonna choke yourself out. You're literally gonna help him choke you out. Because as a black belt, you can feel different body positions. You've been in these positions before. Like, you know these holds like the back of your hand. And I'm like, this guy's a UFC fucking veteran, warrior, whatever. Like, badass. If he wanted to choke him the fuck out, and if he goes to shoot for a double leg, it's like, oh, you're a wrestler now. It's an Nate Diaz quote. But it's like Conor McGregor tried shooting on Diaz. Diaz literally, like, kind of sprawled, got his fucking back, sunk a fucking rear naked choke in, and that was the first fight. So he beat Conor the first fight. I'm like, and then he lost the second fight. But I'm like, if somebody has you in a guillotine, the last fucking thing you're gonna do is drop down to sink the choke in more. I'm like, what a fucking idiot. And this guy did wrestling. I was like, I want to see his credentials because I don't fucking believe it for a second. I'm like, that's fucking stupid. Why would you do that? Like, you're gonna try and basically just not stay in that position, but you're just gonna try and fight out of it. You're not gonna drop and sink it in more. You're gonna do everything you can to evade that.
Yeah, it's
and you
all
can't
about,
really evade it.
It's hand control, hand control, hand control.
Right.
Grab their wrist, and you gotta break their grip.
Yeah, you have to find a way to keep it standing and to prevent him from falling back and sinking that fucking choking. Because once you get under the neck with a guillotine, you can just pull the fucking head down, like just lift the hips up, pull the head. It's like, dude, you sink that in just right. That's a dangerous fucking choke. But if you drop to a double leg or even a single leg, like if you drop from that position, you're not breaking that. There's no way. There's no way you are that skilled or that experienced.
So from a wrestler perspective, I bet you Logan Paul was coming from if I shoot in and it doesn't work out, he's just gonna go behind me.
Yeah.
Because, you shoot in, you miss, and they're behind you. They get their points or whatever, and now you're just fighting, trying to stand up and stuff.
Yeah.
Mixed martial arts isn't like that, right? It's a very different thing of no, I can just have your head and choke you out from here. And in wrestling, you can't just have the head or anything like that. So it's a very biased position from a wrestler's perspective. So it was probably ignorance of, from wrestling, which is a very different, combat sport than, mixed martial arts.
Yeah.
And
I mean, they had boxing gloves on, too, so, and I'm like, you're not gonna fucking fight at it. You literally can't, you can try and throw an overhand punch or whatever, but Nate can just kind of move, and then he's gonna sink it in deeper. Now you have to worry about not getting choked out. Then you're gonna start losing air. You're gonna start losing blood to the brain.
Don't start panicking.
Then you're you're not throwing these fucking big looping punches. You're get me the fuck out of here because I'm about to go out face first on the canvas.
I wonder how much different grappling is with those gloves too. I imagine it's much harder to break the hand control compared to in wrestling. I feel in wrestling I'm very familiar trying to break that hand control, even though my percentage of breaking that hand control is hard. I at least know okay, if I try and pull here, I feel I can.
Yeah.
But it's not, and you do it occasionally if they don't have their technique 100% down, or they slip at all, or if you wiggle just right and it just makes that one little opening and then you can shatter it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure how much I could work with the gloves.
You talking about MMA?
Yeah.
The gloves are hard, but I think what people have to realize is that these guys are high level grapplers, high level strikers. It's just hard to get any position on these guys. So I think the gloves do play kind of a factor, but I think it's a little not easier, but it's about the same as if you didn't have the gloves on, because you still have that opening. They're small gloves. I mean, the tape and the wraps and stuff that makes it difficult, but it's just so hard to when you have a black belt against a black belt. Brandon Moreno and Deiveson Figueiredo were fighting this year, I think it was, and it was I was talking to Pete about it, and he's that was one of the best grappling exchanges I've ever seen. One of the best fucking the way they were rolling, it was true fucking jiu-jitsu in the cage. But these guys are such well-rounded athletes. It's just hard. The gloves do play a factor, but I think a very small percentage of it is from the gloves. And just the fact that these guys are legitimate. The training is completely different. It's evolved. We were talking about, striking. Sean O'Malley just beat Aljamain Sterling a couple weeks ago. And he, kind of did, going backwards, and he planted and just threw that overhand right. But he kind of baited him, all right, come here, and then hit him with an overhand right. And I think just that level change was he wasn't standing up, he was staying low. So wrestling, it's nice just you stay low, you're trying to be within a certain range of your opponent. You can't back out. Yeah. So striking, it kind of gives you that advantage, because when you're a dominant striker and you're fighting a grappler, the level change is going to be low and then pop.
Yeah, it seems striking, you sort of want to be standing up, but in wrestling, it's you're conditioned to basically your elbow should be like resting on your knee or like in that kind of angle, like you're ready to shoot
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know, it's a very different thing, and it's like if you're that low, I imagine like striking your head with like someone's foot is much easier, right?
Oh yeah. I think it's just like you can't like don't want to be stiff. Like striking, you don't want to be stiff, but like definitely grappling, you don't want to be stiff because especially when you go to shoot in for a single, a double leg, or duck under, what if you're really stiff, it's just guys are gonna be able to move you around a lot easier because you're just you got if you can loosen up now it's harder for guys to kind of like you can kind of hand fight and then attack. It's like, but I was watching the NCAA championships this year for wrestling, and I'll tell you what, these fucking guys are just it's awesome to watch. Like I never really paid much attention to it. You know, maybe see like some clips here or there. Even like the 140 pounders look like they're 160, 170. Like they're just big fucking guys. And you look at like Gable Stevens, I think it is, or
Probably
Stevenson.
very short as well. Like I feel like typically wrestlers are probably shorter than most athletic people.
Yeah.
Just because there's so much more of an advantage to have more muscle.
And I think one of the guys is like 5'9", 5'10". So I mean, about average height. 140 pounds, but I mean, just the fucking weight cuts, dude. It's like I couldn't imagine having to cut 20, 30 pounds, go down.
What do you think of? So speaking of weight cuts, I heard someone say like when you do your weigh-ins, it should be your weigh-ins are the right before the match instead of like a day, because I think it's a lot of people or some people don't like the fact that like you just cut water so much to like make your way in. You know what I mean?
I think it's hard though because if you do it the same day as the fight, right?
Like right before the fight.
Like right before the fight. So now you're so if you cut down to 135 and when you weigh in at the fight, like you might be a couple pounds, whatever, like not at your walking weight, but like you're gonna balloon up after the fight. I think that the way that the structure is now, I think doing it a day before the fight is smart because it would just give your body more time to kind of not recover, but just get back to like, okay, like you're feeling fresh the day of the fight. I think if you have to have that stress of like you cut weight and then now you have to weigh in at 155 on before the fight, like that day, and then you have to go fight later that night, like you're gonna be probably pretty tired, pretty fatigued. Like I don't know.
I feel like that just gives I feel like it rewards people for not cutting weight, like if that's their natural body, like hydration and state.
Yeah.
Like it gives them an advantage. So you have to start weighing like, is it worth going into the fight fatigued, or is it worth like cutting down to the fact where when I enter that ring at 180, it's like, okay, now I'm in a very healthy state and I'm not fatigued. If my opponent like cut out a bunch of water and they enter the ring fatigued, I think that's going to stop being the meta of like just cutting down on so much water, because all of a sudden these guys aren't going to be just cutting out water just to make weight.
Yeah.
It kind of feels like a cheat code, honestly. Like if you're just cutting out water to make your weight, I feel like that goes against the integrity of the weight class system.
Well, I think that's the thing. I think that there needs to be restrictions on how much weight you can cut and what weight class you can fight at. I get people want to be a weight bully and they want, because like Aljamain Sterling, he's 5'7", and he cuts down from 170, 178 down to 135. So that's a lot of fucking weight, right? And he's super fucking shredded, but he's just a big guy. Not height-wise, but just size. Like so I think that the lowest he should go is 145 or 155, because I think it's more of an advantage for somebody and I've thought this for a while. I think that if your walk-around weight, say, is like 220, you should have to fight at light heavyweight, right? Because you're not cutting a lot of weight, and it's still a pretty fair advantage. Or you fight at heavyweight. And if you're like 210, then just fight at light heavyweight. I personally don't see the point of these guys dropping weight down to fucking 185, 170, and then ballooning back up to 210. It's like, no, just fight at light heavyweight.
Like, it's cheating, right?
Yeah, like,
it feels like
it's a
you're
weight
just
bully.
using a cheat.
Yeah. Yeah, there's guys that they literally can't make the weight, but they're still wanting to fight at a lower weight class than what they walk around at. It's like, just fucking fight a weight class up or one down. Don't go 2 or 3 weight classes down to fight. Like, that's what they call like these like weight class bullies. Like, they'll come in and they walk around at 200 pounds, 205, 210 pounds, and then they'll cut down to 170. And it's like, but they have the advantage in a way, because when they rehydrate, they're fucking like ready to go. They're primed. It's like, no, just, but then they'll miss weight by 7, 8, 9, 10 pounds. It's like, that's a lot of fucking weight. So yeah, I think instead of guys missing weight and not being able to fight, just cut down one weight class and then make it more fair.
Yeah.
Or go up a weight class.
Or like just, or if they use an average of your weight like throughout the year, like if you're audited,
Yeah.
it's like now you have to maintain your weight, because if like the UFC shows up and they're like,
Yeah.
all right, this is your audit, it's like, oh
Here you
man,
go.
I hope I think the random audits would be the best idea. So it's like either you feel like shit all the time, which wouldn't be a great idea, or you're just like gonna be matched with people that meet your average weight class.
There's been guys that have either died or come pretty close to dying from just weight cuts. I mean,
Yeah, it's
but
like
you
the
do that.
diuretics and stuff. Like, it's such a brutal system. Like,
Yeah.
just chill on that stuff.
Yeah,
You
take it
shouldn't need
easy.
you shouldn't need to, like, all your concentration should be on the fight and your techniques, and not about like hitting the weight.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
You want to call that a show?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Thank you for tuning in. See you guys next week.
See you guys.